So since then, like, has the war come up in your daily life now? And do you ever like regret leaving Vietnam, or how do you feel your life would have changed if you stayed in Vietnam?
That's a very, the question, for us, it's okay because, now we have a good life here, we have a job, and we have a family. Um, my son about, your guys' age, you about 20 some, right? You're 20 some?
I'm 21.
Oh, 20, oh, you
I'm
young,
19.
younger than my son. Yeah, my son graduated from, Santa Barbara.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Went to Santa Barbara. And if you say regret for us, we're not regret. But for my mom, of course, because she lost, her beloved. Yeah, it's my father. Yeah.
Yeah.
She always said, "Wow, we shouldn't go out. We leave the country." But at that time, Vietnam is terrible. We by the time we leave the country on 78, 79, it's a very tough time. Now the economy reform. So better, just like China, same thing, yeah. When economy reform, that means, a lot of people coming there, and investment or open the business and things like that. It's okay now. But at that time, you don't know. Even when, the both, when the both live in Vietnam, we look back, to Vietnam, the land getting farther and farther because, our boats moving getting farther. And I never think, I have a day to can go back there and visit. Never think about that. That's it. My life, I look at, Vietnam's land, again one more time, and that's it. But now you can travel back. You see, sometimes the time change. Even what you're thinking, is you change too. Yeah, that's true. Something I find out myself. Yeah.
And how do you think your life would have been different if you stayed in Vietnam?
Some doing good, some doing good because we already have a business established over there.
Hmm.
Yeah, not a big business, but in Vietnam is not like here. Here, you have to rent a place, you have to sell whatever the license let you to sell. For example, restaurant, or you want a grocery store, you only sell grocery. In Vietnam, if you have a place, you can sell almost everything. And at night time, you can go upstairs and stay. You live in there too, live on business too, but not in here. Even you work in a restaurant, you close restaurant, you go back to work to home to stay. That's the difference, When we come here, we're not we confused. Why people don't live upstairs?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people ask this question, and they always mention, why would you guys work so hard? You put, your time, on business or a job, like you work 10 hours, 12 hours a day. We say it's nothing because, when we're in refugee camp, we go through everything, more worse than that. Of course, everybody had to take rough and smooth, but we only at that time we only take rough, no smooth at all. But in here we have rough and smooth. Why, so make it easy. After the country fell 75, and we already hide out from the city where we live because we plan on to live country for the whole family. That's we don't want involved with the activity, with the government and things like that. So we try to find a way to live, yeah. But at that time, not only you can buy a bow and sell the bow to somewhere else, to escape. No, not that way. They have organization, but they are bribery with money. Yeah, you pay, I remember you have to pay 10 to 15 ounces, per person. And they let you out, but they're not guaranteed at all.
Hmm.
On the 1978 and 79, it's a very tough time for Vietnam. A lot of people, work all day and go to exchange, for just a cup of rice bring home to feed the whole family. Work all day. At that time, it's tough time, So when we decide to leave, when my parents decide to leave the whole family, our mind at that time, we just want to fire, place, we can live. I don't care, it's Australia or America or we don't know because we just want to get out that environment, over there is terrible at that time. Yeah, but now it's getting better. You see the time change now getting better. Now a lot of people travel back or visit too. Yeah, yeah. But at that time, it's terrible. You can say a word, when you are around people. When the country fell, you cannot listen to the radio. Only some stations, certain stations you can listen. Just like a iron curtain, close down, and you isolate in there. You know contact outside. You don't know what's going on outside. But nowadays, you see, one phone, you can talk to people. You can see them face to face.
Yeah.
That's the Apple.
How did you feel about, I guess, more freedom that you had, quote unquote?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. But the whole reason, the whole purpose, we leave the country because we want to find freedom. But when we got here, and well, I remember I when I landed to San Francisco, all the people from a long line and waiting for refugee coming, and they have place for us to eat, and have a place for us to stay. It's so great. Yeah. But after that, and you have a lot of things on my own. But I love to do that. Because at only few months in San Francisco, I moved to Pittsburgh, I moved to Ohio, New York, Chicago. Yeah, I live in Chicago. I work in the electric company too.
You did. So how many jobs have you had ever? Like when you first came, you said you moved to Philadelphia with your friend, right, to work in a restaurant business.
Yeah, but when I moved to San Francisco, to Pittsburgh, Ohio, New York, that's all the job is in the restaurant. When I moved
Oh,
back to Chicago, I went to college. I went to college in Truman College in Chicago.
right.
I remember in Pittsburgh, I get my high school diploma. I tried to make it up, I get a test with GED and get my diploma.
Right.
Mhm. Then moved to Chicago. I work in the company. I work in the Central Can company and Guardian Electric company. Very nice company. I think I will stay there, long, but somehow, bad luck, I got laid off. But I don't have a patience to wait. At that time, my friend called me from Denver, so I moved out to Denver. After that, I work in the restaurant again because I already have experience working in the restaurant, so I work in the restaurant. And the second time I work in the restaurant, and I get that idea, yeah, someday, I probably can run a restaurant if I try to save up money and do that.
Right.
And finally, I did.
That's awesome. That's great.
Uh,
That must have been an amazing feeling to own something of your own, to have your own business. That
Yeah,
must
but but the time go you learn. Otherwise, before I worked in the restaurant and everything, I can open a restaurant. At that time, I work in San Francisco. I don't think I can do it. But after I work in the electric company, after I go back to my job again, same job again, I said, hey, that's the way to do it. If you strong enough, tough enough, you hang in there. Yeah, and you make
after you came to the United States, eventually you got your GE, and then you got you got a degree in Chicago. Was it was that something you wanted to do, or did you pursue education just because you knew it was going to be a little easier to navigate?
a lot of decisions. Now I look back, I still make the wrong decision. I rather go to get more education. But I didn't do it because, I have an opportunity, people selling a restaurant and look, exciting to me. But I say, well, this is a chance. I jump in there and I was stuck in there, but I have to be tough enough to stuck in there, and convert that, to the money, you want to do, that's something I do.
Right.
Yeah, but if I stay, I'll work for the company in Chicago. Maybe I continue. I probably, try to finish my school. At that time, a Guardian company, give me an opportunity to get a degree in the company
Mm.
and work for the company. Because, Guardian Electric Company is actually work for GE company.
If you haven't done so already, do you plan on revisiting Vietnam?
Oh, I visit Vietnam many times. But
Oh,
until the pandemic, then I stopped it.
oh,
Um,
okay.
I
so
stopped it for a while.
you've been back to your hometown and
Yeah, on time. I look at the house I live, yeah, and now it not belong to us, but I asked, the owner of the house, let me in and visit. Yeah, well, remind me a lot of, thing, yeah, when I was young.
Yeah.
when was the first time you went back since you were here?
1989, the first
Also,
time,
Oh, wow.
long time ago.
how old are you when you went back?
That's already 20, that I already have a restaurant, 20 some years old,
Oh,
30.
what was it like to go back? Did everything feel smaller when you went
Oh,
back?
yeah, of course. Compare with that. Before I say, well, I walk to school, still take me, 15, 20 minutes. But now, like 5 minutes, 7 minutes, you can get there. It's
Right.
very small. But I don't know how I imagine, at that time, why I think that way. I think, oh, it's a big city. No, it's a very small, tiny.
When you went back, how have things changed, or what were your initial thoughts of how the things changed?
Oh, change a little bit by little on 86. And I went back there, it's not that developed. And see, people still, follow you because, that's a communist country. They don't know, what are you going to do over there. So they follow you and things like that. It's not comfortable. But after that, now, you go, well, you can do whatever you like. But don't ever try to do, like a counter revolution, overthrow the government, thing like that. And it's okay. It's okay. Now it's quite developed, and people educate, more over there now. Yeah, yeah, very good. Just like China, same thing. Yeah,
Have you ever been to China?
a lot of times too. Russia is not yet, but I'm going to.